Hi, this is Frances from Healing Vibrations, and I wanted to do this second video in a series of 9 live videos talking to you about the energy that's going to influence you during this year. Now, you were born in the year of 1995, 1986, 1977, 1968, 1959, 1950, 1941. If you were born in any of those particular years, this prediction of the energy that's going to influence you is for you. Now, last year, 2018, will have been impacting you in a way where things would have been very slow for you. You would have felt that you would have been in hibernation mode, and a lot of creative ideas might have come up for you. I'm just going to see if I can find anybody on here. Hard to tell. So what you would have found, that you would have been a bit more still and in your own energy, and you might have found that you were a little bit more like a recluse and needed to be around water, or just naturally creating something from the start and maybe wanting to launch something. But last year was not the year to launch. It was the first year of a 9-year cycle for you. And these predictions are based on Chinese medicine and the 5 elements of nature. So because we're part of nature and nature is part of us, it's how it influences us through the patterns of time. So this year in 2019, the influence is a bit different. It's now time, it's the second year of this 9-year cycle. So last year was about you dreaming really big about what you really wanted for this 9-year cycle. And now you're in the second year of this cycle. So this second year of this cycle is all about you planting the seeds of whatever you might have dreamed about last year. So for instance, you may have thought, okay, there's a new idea that I might want to, create in regard to your career or to maybe a business. So last year was your year for dreaming big about what you wanted and how you could visualize that for your future. And this year you may be actually looking at ways of bringing that into, actually planting the seeds for that so that they can start to germinate and then start to grow. Now, this year, again, is a little bit of a slower paced year, but you may find that this year it's very much a year where lots of things come up for you, particularly in regard to relationships. And you may find it also comes up in regard to relationships around females. And it could be something comes up in regard to your mum, for instance, or your mother. And if your mother's already passed, there may be something in regard to healing whatever hadn't been healed before she passed. But certainly things that may crop up this year can have to do with females. Now, why that is because this year is very much the energy that relates to Earth. And when we think about Earth is about supporting her inhabitants and supporting, nourishing and nurturing. So this energy is very much about nurturing this year, and it's about nurturing yourself. And if you haven't been exercising your receptivity muscle, if you've been giving and not so much receiving, this is really a powerful year for you to really focus on that. But when we talk about Earth, we think about the divine feminine or the divine mother, and it's this particular softer energy this year that relates to you. So it's about being receptive, but it's also about this beautiful feminine energy that's coming up as well for you. What can also happen for you is there may be a sense of dissatisfaction that crops up for you this year as well, and particularly in regard to maybe your relationships, your most intimate relationships, which usually tends to be around, spouse or partner or family. So things may just naturally crop up for you to have a look at and to review and see if you can actually heal those things that do crop up for you throughout the year. But also you may find that there's a sense of dissatisfaction about where you're living. about your home, because when we talk about earth, it's about our home. So the energy will just make us look at, you know, how we feel about our home. Are we feeling comfortable? Is there something that we want to change? There's the big thing about there's 3 of these particular earth years through the 9-year cycle, and this is the first one. And I would highly suggest that if you feel that urge to want to move, that you try to restrain yourself from doing that. What happens in an earth year, or in a year that's influenced by the energy of earth, is that the actual move, if you decide to move, you sell up your home and you decide to move, what can happen is maybe not so many problems around the move itself, although that can happen. But what can also happen is things don't go as smoothly as you want. It can impact your relationships, and because this year is about relationships as well. But it's also what can happen is that you found the place you want to move to, you move there, and then you find that you get there and you find that you're not quite as satisfied about where you've moved to. Something just doesn't feel right. So if possible, if this is the year that you're in, I want you to be aware that the energy that might be making you feel like you want to shift, I want you just to be aware that that's the energy, and it will subside after a little while. But you may choose to instead use that energy to look at how you may, well, I'd say not to renovate too much. You don't want to be pulling walls down, etc., because that's unearthing your house. But if you wanted to do some furnishings, change some furnishings, I did that during this particular year. And maybe looking at ways of decorating and making your home feel more like home, that would be much more beneficial than actually moving. So I highly suggest that. This year also you might find that helpers turn up for you. You may naturally meet people that can help support you in some way, and that could be in regard to helping you to create that dream and plant those seeds for the future that you're wanting to create. But it could be that old friends turn up this year, people that are just naturally going to turn up and support you in some way. And so I want you to look out for that and recognize that, and be ready to say, yes, I'd love a hand. It's all about being more receptive this year. What can also happen this year is that there's homework for you to do this year about how you can really nurture yourself. It is, when we think about the energy of Earth, Mother Earth looks after us, she supports us. So it's about you also supporting yourself. And as this year goes along, you'll find that towards the end of this year, there will be a real desire for or a need to create some change in your life. It's just going to be like a compelling urge, and you'll just start to feel the impact of next year coming into place. But this year is not so much about putting big plans into action. It's about generally planting the seeds of what you really want to create, and then allowing them to slowly germinate. And then next year you'll move into a year where you can start to go full force ahead. But this year it's a bit slower going, and just to be aware to look after yourself and to be more receptive as well. Now, the colour associated with this particular Earth year for you is the colours of Earth. So the browns, the beiges, soft pink. So that's why I'm wearing a soft pink colour tonight. And you may choose to wear more of those colours, or you may choose to furnish your home with those colours, and even yellow, for instance. Surrounding yourself with those colours just to amplify this particular energy that you're being influenced by this year. I hope this information helps and helps support you, particularly if you were born in these particular years that I mentioned. And if you want to know anything more about this type of reading that I do, which is called Your Divine Blueprint, I'm going to put a link into this post linking to my website, and which will give you more information about what I do and how I can help you find out who you truly are, so that you can discover more self-compassion and more self-love based on who you are and your inner nature. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow and talking about next year's energy that relates to people that were born according to the years that relate to them. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.